Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Remember When. We are at the magnificent goat racing facility, the integrated facility at Buccoo. Another beacon of PNM success, PNM project par excellence. Come with me on this journey as we remember when, how goat race used to be in Buccoo then and now. So this facility was commissioned November 14th, 2010 by the then PNM administration under Chief Secretary Orville London. Let's hear from some of the folks of Buccoo as to how this facility has benefited them.
My name is Winston Pereira. I'm the owner and manager of Miller's Guest House and Restaurant, as well as the current Vice President of the Buccoo Village Council. Before I was the Public Relations Officer on the onset of this particular facility when it was developed. A home for something that's a cultural asset to Tobago, that happens to be goat racing. Most people know about it. That's an Easter event. It's actually one of the highlights of the Easter period, the Easter weekend. At the time it was brought online, it was 2010. Yeah? And since that time, it has hosted not only goat racing, but various other activities. It's a kind of multifaceted, it's a multi-purpose facility. Yeah? So you have individuals will have their sports day here. You'll have conventions, you'll have religious functions, and also there's been an uptick in terms of people using not only this facility, but the extension to the back there where the bar is and the restaurant for weddings and such. So from the perspective of what it has done for the village, it has improved its visibility for sure. But I think also it's been rather underutilized. And its primary purpose for the development of the sport somehow suffers in that regard. So as Vice President of the Village Council, we work hand in hand with the Goat Owners Association to develop models and approaches to developing the actual sport of goat racing. Yeah, because as of course it's exciting. Yeah, it draws a major crowd, domestic and foreign. And it's something that's quite marketable and a component part of Product Tobago from a tourism perspective. And I think from that perspective, we must look at the various options available to us to develop that sport as a council, as a people, and as an island. Because it's necessary for us to understand the value of what we have, for us to understand how to use that value for the best interests of Tobagonians as a whole.
Before the facility, how was boat racing facilitated or anything from before the facility was on?
Okay, well, that's way back in the time, but I could tell you basically what happened is that over a period of time, goat racing was in various venues in Buccoo. Yeah? So what happened is that this was identified as the best area to have it. At first, these railings, before this infrastructure was there, was basically a track. People used to go and cut the wood in the mangrove wood, make up the railings. And it was like, a village sport. Again, it's a testimony to the innovation and the resilience of Tobagonians as a people.
So guys, again, I am with Natasha Rodgeford Chance, former president of the Buccoo Village Council. And I think the best person, or one of the best persons, who could share with us some information on the Buccoo Integrated Facility. So Natasha, tell us, give us a little history, a little synopsis of this place, what it was like before we have this beautiful structure now, and what were some of the challenges you had as a village council in events that you hosted here?
Right, so trees, bush, drainage, swamp, but it was a peaceful place. So right. For the goat racing aspect of it, what we had to do every year, and it brought the community together in a particular kind of way, was to cut and build our space, right? We had some shops that were in front. The goat owners was probably about here where we're sitting now, right. In some little makeshift, let's say tents or booths kind of thing, where they were housed as their paddocks. And then they would come out from there and race. Right. So they build there was lighting and all of that. So you would try to finish the races earlier So it put a lot of emphasis on getting the jockeys really, really ready for the races. Sometimes you would have gotten light from Mr. Logan, but it was like a run and go just in case it wasn't finished. And so even the gates to build in for the goats to exit for the race, that was not automatic as it is now. So it was a lot of hard work. But the community used to get together like about, let's say, just after Carnival, to put all this in place for that grand time. Even seating accommodation, because we had to build that, or you're bringing makeshift, bleachers and so on. So it was a hustle, a bustle. It was really, really, sometimes even on the goat owners themselves, really hard. Because by the time you finish that, now you have to get yourself ready for the races. So it was a bit of chaos, good community spirit, but chaotic. Right? We are here now, which is amazing. Because we have a seating capacity of 1,024.
Wow.
But the space, because there's standing room, we don't sell seats, we sell entrances. So when persons come in, once the space is full, because there's only 1,024 seats, then you're free to come in. Right? On a good Easter, you would find that you have about 3,800 to 4,000 persons inside the space enjoying the Easter festival.
So is it that with the facility coming on stream in 2010, that it created an opportunity for you to now have more persons in terms of gate receipts?
Of course.
Towards the village council.
Yes, you get to maximize on the potential to house persons in the space. Because remember, before that, you had to kind of build your own fence. So you wouldn't, and there wasn't car parking space either. So that the facility allowed persons to feel safer to come and park, because you park along the streets. Is also Easter festivities. But that's enough for Easter, because the facility should not be sold as an Easter facility. The facility I have seen hosted church conferences. It has hosted comedy shows. There was one time that the interdepartment festivities, when the Shaw Park complex was under construction, that was here. Sports days, family days, weddings. There's a conference room at the back of us. There's a VIP conference room. There's one downstairs. On the other side, there are booths that house persons with their entrepreneurial activities. There's also the beach facility that carries a fine dining restaurant. Of course, the car park is an idea for another festivity. Because I know that those people who do car sports and things, they usually on Easter Friday, Good Friday rather, so the Friday before Easter, they use it. We have had the village council use it a Good Friday of an opportunity to ensure that the entire facility had an event. So there was a roving event where we had the night market in the car park, we had night racing, we had the steel band featured over at the beach bar and so on. So it's a facility that can be utilized in the space for all of Tobago to enjoy.
So there is no doubt that the Buccoo Integrated Facility has literally transformed Buccoo. We know Buccoo to be a premier tourist destination, premier Easter spot to be at, but it has transformed Buccoo for the entire year.
That's correct.
In terms of the community spirit, the entrepreneurial spirit. Talk about the entrepreneurial spirit that this facility has created.
Yes. So there was always a beach bar. It never used to really open all week. Now it has the opportunity to open all week with the addition of the boardwalk that encourages weddings, fashion shows and all of that. Then there's the other booths that you can have, like dressmaking, jewelry making. There was a class for jewelry making. A hairdresser was once there. There was a fishing little shop. The mango shop was also there and so on. And then there's food on the other side downstairs, and then there's the fine dining restaurant upstairs. But not only has this facility encouraged entrepreneurial activity within, but outside of this space, because it encourages more persons to come to the facility and the area, it has encouraged other persons to have entrepreneurial activity along the streets on their way.
But I used to remember back in the day, there were these small shops on the street coming down. The normal roadside parlor, your village parlor, and that as well was part of the entire transformation.
Correct.
Into what you may consider like a micro mall.
Yes, because right opposite the Buccoo Community Center, or multipurpose center as it has been renamed, they are housed there. So there's a barber there, there's a beautiful shop, there's Vel's Delight that people go to very frequently. So there's entrepreneurial activity, there's an ice cream shop. Even opposite there, it encouraged another neighbor to have his own malling facility. So it has encouraged a lot of activity in this space.
So finally, we had a makeshift setup for the goat race. We know Buccoo the home of goat race. We had a makeshift setup for the goat race. And then someone had a bright idea.
Yeah.
Let's build this integrated facility. Tell us about that.
Well, I can remember back in the day when it was our then only person that really walked with us, Mr. Mackenzie.
Right.
And he fought for all sorts of things in the Buccoo space. If you look over at that area where you see there's a court,
yes,
with one of the only back walls in Tobago, the tennis, all of that we had because of his fight.
Right.
And we rallied with him because he saw the potential of this village.
William the Conqueror Mackenzie.
Correct,
Yes.
correct. So Sonny Murray, he was president of the village council for some time, a good solid time. And he was also a goat owner.
Right.
And a trainer. So he had goats for many years. I think even the last time when I hosted, which was just before COVID, he would usually come to the paddock and hand out bibs when they call the races.
Right.
So he would engineer that from the paddock. So he was still a very active part of goat racing. I then wrote to the chief secretary, Mr. Orville London, asking that one of the spaces be named after Mr. Sonny Murray, because he was still he's alive and he's not so well now, but he was alive and well at the time. So to have while we understood and still do that it's a Tobago facility in Buccoo, so we didn't ask for all the spaces to be named after persons in Buccoo goat racing or in Buccoo, but at least one of the areas, one of the spaces, whether it's the paddock and so on, should be named after him. But if it wasn't for the vision of the conqueror himself, we may not have been where we are now. Yeah.
Excellent. Natasha, thank you for your insight. I think we had a wonderful level of communication, so thank you again.
And thank you for coming to our area. And we welcome you back anytime.
I remember when they blessed the facility, and Natasha Rachel Chance was there, because although I wasn't here permanently, going and coming, I remember going into the village council when she was here, and the village council was in charge of getting the facility ready for that occasion, right? And from there, every year we start having events, and sometimes right? And with that development now, right? It caused Buccoo to be on the map more, right? Right? So from then to now, this is how the facility now have the goat race grow from strength to strength until this present time. PNM did it, yes, that is a PNM baby there. Because we didn't have a place to run the goats. It was on this road, that Chan Street, and then we came down to Battery, right? Well, now Battery is full with houses and things. So we had to get a place to do that event. And through the negotiation between Sonny had quite a lot of influence on some ministers like Mr. Calendar and Mr. Winchester, and that sort of a push. There was the push behind it, because that place built in Mr. London days.
And William Mackenzie.
The Buccoo Integrated Facility represented the transformation of Buccoo Point. This community, of course, has been an integral part of the culture and the heritage of Tobago through our crab and goat racing festival that has been around for a very, very long time, almost 100 years. I grew up in the village of Buccoo. I was born in Buccoo in the year 1987, and therefore I can reflect on the time when our goat racing facility was simply the track, and then you had maybe a 10 by 10 elevated booth, which was known as the announcer's booth, and that was it. Of course, the vendors will come in and they will set up their tents to sell their stuff, and that was it. So to move from that to a time now where since 2010 we have this facility incorporating not only goat racing, but there are facilities for people to vend. There's a bar, there's a restaurant, and beyond goat racing, a number of concerts are held here, a number of other events like car shows, parties. We even had our very effective Buccoo Ballpark League hosted right here at the Buccoo Integrated Facility At one point in time, it was in the car park for a number of years. And then in the later part of it, it moved to another car park location inside the facility. So this facility represents all of Buccoo, and the people of Buccoo are pleased, and the impact of this facility transcends Buccoo. It has impacted Tobago and the country by extension. And recently we had further development. During my time as Chief Secretary, we were able to establish this boardwalk that I'm standing on, and of course that has added significant value to this facility. So of course the goat owners, the goat racers, all the other stakeholders like the vendors who benefit here, the tourists who will pass through from time to time, and even the locals. This facility has resulted in the transformation of Buccoo, its people, and its economy. And I am tremendously heartened to be a part of the PNM legacy behind this project. And of course, I look forward to future developments in this community of Buccoo. I also want to thank some residents of Buccoo that would have been instrumental over the years in ensuring that we have this facility for today. There were some village council presidents. I think at the time the president was Mrs. Marilyn Roberts. There were also other persons working along with the village council. We had people like Mr. Sonny Murray. We had Natasha Rochford Chance. We had Winston Pereira, people like Roseanne Charles, Linda Ramsawak, the Noons from Carroll Gardens, the Roberts family here in Buccoo, organizations like the Buccaneers Steel Orchestra, and several others would have worked hand in hand with the Tobago House of Assembly, the London-led administration at the time, to ensure that this major development for the people of Tobago came to fruition.
So there you have it, guys, the Buccoo Integrated Facility, a project birthed and conceptualized by the People's National Movement, a project that benefited the community, and not just the community of Buccoo, but a project that has benefited all of Tobago. Goat racing is not just Buccoo. Goat racing is not just Easter Tuesday. Goat racing is Tobago. And so a facility was created that has brought entrepreneurial activity back to Buccoo at a level never seen before. We heard the history of goat racing. We were told that goat racing started in Patience in Signal Hill, made its way down to Canaan Bonaccord, made its way to Mount Pleasant, and finally found its home at Buccoo, a place that we all visit, a place that we all love. Now Buccoo is considered the mecca of goat racing. So guys, I want you to remember when governance was done correctly, governance was done collaboratively, and governance was done by the People's National Movement. We give you the Buccoo Integrated Facility.